a short introduction about where they're from and their names. Okay. So we start from here. Who are you? Mazipan. Hey,
press one
don't
down, then just press one. Just press this.
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys know me, okay, so I don't need to introduce, okay. Yeah. Okay, so okay, I'm on my right, okay. First is from Yosuke. He's from Tokyo, Japan. Yeah. Give it up. Yeah, and then after that, Monster Pop. Okay, he's from Montreal, Canada. Yeah, so we got the East Coast, Upper East Coast, okay? Yeah. So the next up is Bryce. Okay, Playboy Sticks. Yeah. From the Bay Area, San Francisco. Okay, so he's like, we got the West Coast covered. Huh? So next up, also from the East Coast, Future Ryan from Urban Artistry. Yeah. Washington. Right, and then the next guy, let's skip the next guy. Okay, you guys know him too, Josh, from Bishan. And Robin from Woodlands. And of course, Ziming from Punggol Park. Yeah. Okay, so those are our local guys, like here to give their views also on certain topics that we are going to cover through the next hour or so. Okay, but before we start, just want to let you guys know that this is going to be kind of like an informal thing, so don't be too nervous. This is not like a lecture or anything where you got to keep quiet, you know, take notes and stuff. You can take notes, but please ask questions if you have any in mind, especially those that you've been dying to ask for a long time, or you've no way to get an answer. Now's a good time because these people come from all kinds of background and knowledge and experience. So this is the perfect time to ask. Okay? So to get it started, I'm first going to open to the floor. If you have any question you want to ask right now, you can ask. Yeah, you got like 30 seconds. Don't be scared, huh? Okay, you can ask any of them, or you can ask them as a collective. You know what I mean? Anybody know what I mean? You all know what I mean, right? Okay. Alright, your time up. Okay, let me ask the question then. Okay, since you guys are still thinking about it, I'm sure. So for me, like, okay, I got the first question, which is what I think everybody wants to know is, what is popping? Yeah. Okay? So anyone can answer, or you can ask anything that related to this topic.
Yo. How you guys doing? So for me, popping is a style that is composed of many other styles. It's one of those styles that it encompasses a lot as far as things within the umbrella of popping or boogalooing or strutting or whatever you want to call this dance. There's many things that are incorporated, but the dance popping and boogalooing has a heavy influence from Black pride in America in the 60s, in the civil rights movement. This was when people were fighting for their rights, their equal rights in America, and that mentality is in this dance. So popping is a very confident thing. It's a prideful dance. It also has many influences from ROTC military drill teams to pimp culture to gang culture. These personalities and these characters or mind states, they all make up what we call popping, as well as the many different styles that are done within this dance. Waving, tutting, gliding, Fillmore, strut, swooping, creeping, posing, the falling man. There's so many new ones coming out. There's so many things that encompass this dance. So for me, popping is a style that has many elements, and that's what's so beautiful about it, is that it encompasses a wide range of things.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on the panel?
Okay, Bryce. Yeah. Good response. I like that. Yeah, it came from out of the Black Ghetto Youth. The more history that I've been looking into, the more I see a connection between all the movements and a lot of these styles we like to sometimes separate. Things like boogaloo, popping, strutting. Because they're different words, it's a lot easier for people just to separate and say, okay, strutting, that can't be the same as boogaloo. So what is it? It's got to be different. Okay, they use more of this stuff in it. Okay, so I'm going to call that strutting. But really, when you look into it, there's a lot of movements that overlap because the history will tell you that, like something like strutting, for example, was San Francisco's version of what Oakland was already doing, boogaloo. They just called it strutting. You know, that's what happens when kids. They're all kids that came up with this stuff, by the way. You see something, you want to do it, you add to it, you change it. You see a cartoon, you're gonna throw that in there too. So there are all kinds of things that happen. It's not very simple and straightforward. Someone didn't just go there one day and be like, I'm boogaloo, this is what I'm doing. It's defined as this, this, and that. It was this time period where all these things were created, and then later you can kind of define it better when you just look at that time period and the movements that were part of the dance. But they're all connected, so every time I teach a class or talk about it, for me, boogaloo, poppy, strutting, roboting, they're all the same dance, just different names, different flavors for different areas. But popping became the most popular word. That was the one that took off in the media. So that's why we all know it as popping today. So to me, that's why the popping is the word that's used, and we're okay with that, because that's just the natural way it came about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good answers. Like anybody want to ask anything based on what they said so far, or from the panel want to add something more? 5 seconds.
Popping is funk. It's funk music. It's funk music embodied in movement. So when you take a culture of people, let's talk about the city of Oakland, that's heavy on pimp culture and being smooth and cool and posing on you. When you take that personality and you put it on funk music, you get boogalooing or popping. Like, it's not always the style that makes it the dance. It's the character underneath. It's the mindset that embodies those movements that makes it popping, right? Funk music, you have popping and you have locking that birth from it. But locking comes from a different city, right? And it's a different mindset in LA than it is in Oakland, San Francisco, Richmond, San Jose, Fresno. There's different personalities for all these cities. So the beautiful thing about the States and black folks in the States is that they all had their own version of funk music and their own version of funk dance per city. Every city in the States has a different culture and a different embodiment, a different attitude that they live through. And you see that coming out through the music. Okay, so I guess I would also add that like popping is just funk music embodied in movement for me as well.
Okay. Oh, I got a question actually. Like based on, I like the idea of like what Future just said about popping is a mindset and it's a mentality and a lifestyle kind of thing more than the embodiment or like the physical language. But one thing that always puzzled me about what's popping, right, is that so there's many things that many states that have different styles of popping when it came out. So what was it that like kind of like binded them all together? Like they knew that, I'm from here, you're from there, we dance like this, you dance like that, but we knew that we were on the same kind of page. Like what's that little like mindset or mentality that like you knew that, oh, this guy's a popper, I'm a popper. Because right now, like we know where we are, like we know all the styles that have been created, all the moves that have been created before, but how do we go to the next, like how do we know we are still popping, Like if I were to do something now, like it looks very different. How can I say like I'm doing my way of popping rather than like starting to venture into another style or something like that? Yeah.
I think it's enough. What's that? But I think aesthetic, and something very simple where you take different poppers. I'm saying broad word as poppers, doing different styles or having different influences. You make them dance. You take somebody that doesn't dance and just watch them. And then you take another dance style like b-boy or whatever, you have them dance. And then you take another dance style like rock and so forth. So this person that is a non-dancer will definitely be able to differentiate like, oh yeah, this person is part of this group. And they'll be able to like, okay, he did something on the floor, yeah, that looks more like that. Or he did something more illusionary like, mechanical like, funk related like, and be like, okay, this isn't that. So technically people will be like, yeah, popping is this, but also there is an aesthetic, the look, illusionary aspect, the mechanical aspect. You know, even when you do something that is funky or loose, there's still an illusionary feel to it. You know, it's not humanly like not possible, but it's like, okay, how come this body is moving like side to side like this, and there's like a stretched feel. You know? So that's how I would differentiate. That's how I was brought up in my city to understand that. It's like, okay, you know, that's what it is.
So it's more like just stepping back and don't look too much at the technique and just get that vibe kind of feeling to your style.
Of course, technique eventually is important. Of course, being an anthropologist, anthropologist. I was saying it in French. That's right. Yeah. You know, about your dance, knowing where it comes from, and technique is important. But the street basic, the way I would see it, is just the illusionary aspect, the mechanical aspect.